Welcome to the Outer Realm with MicheleDerocher and Amelia Pisano. Airing live on the United Public Radio Network, 105.3 FM in New Orleans.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Wednesday night segment of The Outer Realm. We are broadcasting live on the United Public Radio Network, UFO Paranormal Radio Network 105.3 from the Gulf Coast and 107.7 FM from New Orleans. We're fully sponsored by the amazing people over at Folgers Coffee who have been a part of our journey probably for the last 6 years. So thank you, Folgers. We couldn't do it without you, nor would we want to. Also, big thank you to Justice Snicker, a.k.a. Dr. Snick, the Sonic Surgeon, for the contribution of his time, his music, and his voice for the intro you just heard. He is an award-winning composer of Halloween, horror, and sci-fi, dark wave electronic music, which can be found on all of your favorite music streaming platforms. Also, thanks to Steve McGinnis, the artist behind the logos here at the show. Check him out on Facebook and Instagram. Also specializes in the horror genre, Halloween genre, but does amazing commission pieces of any type. And speaking of Folgers, I have to do it. Where the hell have you been all my life, Folgers? Hot and iced caramel drizzle lattes. Oh my God. Okay, this is new for me. See, it says new right there on the box. So I don't know, how long, other people have had it. Maybe it's been, certain countries, before here. But I will tell you what, I have the best. Honestly, I don't think I've ever tasted anything in a box taste so bloody amazing. And I can't stop drinking them. It's terrible, but it's not terrible. I mean, it's really good because I love Folgers. But now I love Folgers even more because this has probably been the best thing I've tasted in a whole long time. And it is my absolute new favorite latte. So let's say it again. Folgers, hot or iced. Look at me trying to combine two words all at once. Caramel drizzle latte. If you haven't tried it, oh gosh, try it. And you can thank me later. I'll leave that right there. Anyway, a lot of people chiming in. Let me try to get through everybody. Hello, Michael, Janie, Olivia. Hello, Wayne. Hello, Carrie. Hi, Michelle. Oh my goodness, down we go. Hi, Joy. Patsy, Charisse. Hello, the Owl Man. Hello, Shelly. Glenn. Hello. Oh my goodness, Mark. Hello, you made it. Hello. Oh, if I miss anybody, I do apologize. I really do. And we have Preston's channel today. So of course, as always, when he's on and when Dolly's on. So we definitely want to acknowledge and shout out to all of you guys. Hello. Much love right back to you. Oh boy. So of course, what? Carrie. Carrie, what is this? You haven't tried this. If you haven't, just let me know next week. Go out. This is an assignment for everybody. Go out and get some Folgers hot and iced caramel drizzle. I don't think you'll regret it. I sure didn't. Anyway, so I could go on here just like addressing everybody in Preston's room. It's like, you guys are all fantastic. And I love you guys all. So without further ado, we have Preston, Dennett, Dolly Safran, two people I consider family, and definitely, part of our UPRN family as well. And tonight we're going to be discussing pretty much, what don't we discuss? We always end up in some pretty incredible conversations, but the gist of it, I think where we'll start is UFOs over Niagara. Hiding in the clouds and what's up with these sky cities. It's stuff that I've been seeing popping up online, except for the UFOs over Niagara, because I've had my own experiences with that. But I know Preston's probably got a heck of a lot more than I do. But there's just stuff we want to address, and who better to ask than my dear friends Preston and Dolly. Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
And now I'm going to have to go shopping tomorrow for that bloody new coffee. Because
yes, you do.
Oh my God.
That has got to be the best goodness I have had in so long. I thought I saw it come out and I went, oh, I'm just going to try it because I love Folgers. And it's just like I had one. And the sad thing is only 4 in a box. So I just had to go and buy a bunch of boxes. So anyway, I know I'm terrible. Okay. So I had 2 and I'm staring at the boxes. There's only 4 in it at the time. And I only had the 1 box. I'm like, oh, it'd be bad if I went for a 3rd. I know. I'm going to start looking like, the state of Montana pretty soon if I keep drinking these to that degree. Anyway, I'm going to leave that right there. Anyway, how are you guys?
I'm good. I'm a little wiggy right now, and I'm asked to go potty because I've been 2 hours with Joe.
Yes.
I was just sitting here drinking my coffee, and I'm thinking, oh no, I think I better go to the bathroom. But I get a little while before it hits me hard, so I'll beg out in a minute or two.
Yeah, just knock yourself out if you've got to pop out for a minute. Joe cheats too. He keeps you longer.
He did.
I know. He's probably laughing right now. I'm just like,
yes. Probably.
Anyway, it's gonna be fun talk tonight. Because there's just things that are popping up, online. I have to address it when I see it, and one of them, of course, because I want to go over UFOs over Niagara, and I want Preston to just go when he feels like going. But I had to address this. Okay, the cities in the skies. I'm going to show pictures because to me they're like A, a mirage, B, mistaken identity, C, maybe the obvious, which are buildings maybe in the clouds. I don't know, because it depends how far up they are, but I'm going to put them on there because I want expert opinions. So anyway, yeah, I had to share this stuff. And here we go. 1 minute. I'm just going to share up the one I've got here. Okay. And you guys can let me know your thoughts on this. Okay. So this right here. Okay. So this is the original picture down here. So look, I've seen other skies, scapes in the clouds. And I'm thinking, okay, maybe it's an interdimensional thing. Maybe it's just something that's, kind of like a dimensional bleed through, right? It happens. And then I start digging. I find this, because at first all I'm seeing is this. So I started digging and found we're in the city here, right? Or town, right? So to me, I'm thinking this right here. But I'm not an expert in this stuff. I'm curious because this is China.
Geographically, where was that taken?
China.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
yeah, right? I've got some thoughts for sure.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm being devil's advocate right now with trying to be, Joe, like logical, but I did my digging just on this one. But I want to say that there are different ones out there that look pretty compelling. But again, now we live in the age of technology, which a lot of things can be rigged up. So what do you guys think?
The bottom one, I know a lot about China. Okay.
Yeah.
It is mountainous. And there are provinces that have mountains right behind fort cities like that are incredible. Thousands and thousands of feet up from the base. And so the one on the picture on the bottom looks to me like that's what that is. They have a high smog there, and it's not just low cloud cover, it's smog. Yeah, and it looks like it could be that. Exactly. Right. The other one looks like it was enhanced somehow. Okay.
Oh, yeah, They cleaned it up.
Yeah, they cleaned it up and they enhanced it somewhat. But that's if they're both from China, I think that's what you're looking at. And
I think it's supposed to be the same picture cleaned up.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, China is like that. You know, go look at movies of China. You know, editorials about the different provinces and what they look like and everything, and you'll realize that China is exactly that. There's no flat place in China anywhere. Period. You know, and so I'm not shocked about that at all. Not at all.
We used to see this where I grew up in Topanga Canyon, which was very mountainous, and all the peaks would stick out, and there'd be a sea of fog below it. So it's got this really weird kind of floating effect.
Yeah.
But we do know there are mirages, inferior and superior mirages. Or, you know, in the desert, you see water on the ground. That's one type of mirage where the sky is basically being reflected down onto the ground.
Yes.
But the other is much more rare, and that's when something might be thrown up into the sky.
Yes.
You can see these over bodies of water quite a bit of time. And if you research these cases, a number of them are over bodies of water. But there could be another thing going on here, because I've read a number of cases, and this is super rare, where people will see across a vast distance much closer up, almost telescopic vision due to a weird, they're not exactly sure what's causing this, but a sort of lensing type of effect, or this happened in a UFO case that I researched on Catalina Island. They could see a lighthouse on the coast of the mainland, which you can't see from Catalina Island normally. So it's as if the distance was halved somehow. So it could be something along those lines.
Lensing, yeah. It's atmospheric lensing. There's a name for it.
Yeah.
It's atmospheric lensing. That's what it's called. Look it up.
Yeah. But I will. I started doing research on this, Michelle. It was hard. I could not find good stuff, because I remember distinctly reading an article of a case in which I believe took place in Australia years ago, and there was a city in the sky. Not a building, it was a city, and it could not have been a mirage, period, because they could see the people walking around. These were buildings. It was from the past. It did not look like any city anywhere near there. And it was.
What year was that?
Oh God, I want to find this. I tried to find it.
Yeah.
It was not that long ago. And either this was a futuristic looking city, but I think it was actually a less.
Preston, isn't there a researcher I think he's deceased now, and he was, I don't know if he worked at Area 51. He worked with government on some level, and he whistle blew because he had grabbed hold of some pictures. He was an elderly man when he passed. I know I have this somewhere in my notes, and it just dawned on me now. He had photographs of what looked like was like a cityscape in the sky. And he basically had ET pictures, and he had them all laid out on this board. And
I know what you're talking about.
Did you remember him? And he was on the verge of passing away. And he figured before he went, he was going to expose all of this. And one of them was a cityscape.
Yeah. He lived in a trailer park in Arizona somewhere.
Is he still alive? I thought he passed away.
He died. He died. And all his stuff disappeared, period. He had a wife, and she was upset because it disappeared. I'm not so sure. I know that they've been experimenting with 12D holography, holograms. And I think a lot of stuff that people see is them practicing that stuff. Okay. And so I'd have to know where, in other words, what you want to know about 12D holographic imaging is they need more than one emitter, okay, laser emitter. So and they have to be strategically placed. So wherever this is coming from, in the area that they're at, there has to be 3 points or 4 points for them to have those projectors up and running. And you can't see them. They're very good at hiding them. I know that I was in an auditorium where they were demonstrating this when my daughter was a teenager, and I watched them set up for it because, I worked at the school. And they were using 7 of them, and they had a bloody will come out of the floor of the gymnasium.
Yeah, you can see this on YouTube.
I swear to God, it was really there. and they had a background tape playing of the sounds it was making. And so you sat there, chill bumps came up on you. You're like, oh my God. Okay.
Yeah.
They can do this in the sky as well. And
without any background, like, fog or anything like that.
No, they can do it straight up in the sky, no problem. It's
that's another
like what you're talking about. But and at night it's even better. They have a better palette at night. I'm just wondering if we're not seeing more of that these days.
Well, it's the age of technology.
I'm telling you though that case that I'm referencing could not be that.
Really? Why?
It was earlier. It was very convincing. I can't completely rule it out, obviously. But God, I'd have to look it up. I tried to find it, and I just couldn't. I couldn't find it.
Right.
But that's I think probably that's easily doable, Dolly, considering the technology we have now.
Yes.
Okay, so on to the next anomaly. I've only got like 3 pictures, so I wanted to just start us off with get rid of the out of there, and then kind of just go for the gusto. Let Preston go wild. So, okay, so I'm going to put this guy up. These are called UFO clouds. Okay, and a little bit different than what my experience was. I think I've mentioned before, the experience I had was a little bit different. It wasn't a bunch like this. It was one, and it had moved, oh my God, like miles. And I was given a heads up and saying, okay, something's coming your way. Check it out. And it was coming from like 3-4 cities away. And when I gauged it based on where it was, and we went and we sat and we waited for this thing. And this thing came over, but it was emitting light out of it. I'm thinking, okay, that could just be lightning, not thinking of it. But you could almost time it perfectly. And on the back part of it, the circular part of just this one cloud, we could see something metallic shining out of it. And it was booking at a pretty good pace, just going over the river. And I thought, okay, that's interesting. And I've never saw one before, never saw one since. And this is as close as I could get to that. Only other witnesses that had seen this thing with the metallic in the back and the constant. So, thoughts?
Yeah, well, those are obviously lenticular clouds.
Yeah.
Which, as anyone who's researched the subject knows, and they often do get blamed for UFOs. But I will say that there are a lot of UFO cases involving objects that are shrouded by clouds or come out of clouds, or there's weird lights going around clouds.
Yeah.
Unusual cloud activity of all kinds.
I'll bring one up just while you're talking. I've got a couple. It just falls under the same idea. I just wanted to bring it while you're talking.
Frozen ice clouds, too, which can cause really weird effects.
Okay.
Rainbow-like effects.
Yeah.
It might even look metallic at a certain way of looking at them. But I don't know. Dolly might have some more insights on what UFOs can do with clouds, but I know that
they can create plasma if they're running a certain amount of energy around them. And if there's a lot of vapor, water vapor, like cloud activity storming around them, it can build up rather fast. Generally, when that does, you'll see lightning because it's electromagnetic, and it can cause lightning to come out of very wet clouds, positive charging, and you'll see them light up and whatever, and you'll see all kinds of displays going on around them. But they're generally very, very, they almost have a lot of pink in them, you'll see pink crystals and crystal activity around them when they're doing that plasma. And then you'll see bright yellow or orange doing it in the cloud with them. Oops, sorry, hit my phone. And that can happen. A UFO can create that, especially if it's coming in and it hasn't cooled off. It'll drag the plasma down with it. It's still producing plasma around it. This
was a few years ago, like maybe 2019, if I had to say. So I think before they bugged out, as you say, like it would have been just before that, I think.
And if there's, and like I said, a daytime viewing, see, that's close. That's possible right there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a
especially
smaller version of the other one, but again, an anomaly with cloud covers or fog.
Yeah, the plasma would be circling it, not enveloping it. So that might be a crap.
I don't know. There was one guy I interviewed, a military guy who's very familiar with these kinds of things. He was in Costa Mesa in the 1970s. People were running out in the streets because there was this massive cloud, and it had little warbling pastel colored lights going around the edge, very much like what you're showing here.
Yeah.
So that they were pink, and green, and blue, and there was no craft per se. But, and the weather people did try to call it an atmospheric phenomena.
No, they're lensing light when they do that. It's the energy that they produce in the plasma. It lenses light. It actually causes a light show. And it's the pastel colors that you're looking at because the light is refracting through the water vapor crystals that are in the plasma, okay, as they're heating up and blowing away. And that's why they're not intense. They're lighter colored, okay? It's not an intense color that it's producing. It'll be very pastel. And it'll be all mixed up because it's lensing, like a prism, the light that's surrounding with the energy. So, yeah, that's probably a craft.
Yeah. I always think of that scene in Close Encounters where the clouds are roiling in.
Yeah.
They're up.
Being all funky.
Really impressed me as a kid when I saw that.
Yeah.
I've talked to people who've described that kind of thing. Or a wall of fog, completely flat. And they go into it. And of course,
not the roiling, the wall of fog you would see. They come in on fog. Yeah. Because that's plasma heading out in front of it, and it causes water to build up. It sucks it right out of the air and produces it. So
One guy I interviewed, he was driving along the 5 freeway, and they saw what they thought was a cloud, but it was roiling all around it. And as they got close, there was a craft hidden inside of it. He's like, Preston, I think that craft was alive. That was one of the first people who told me, like what Dolly describes, like these are living beings, essentially.
Yeah.
He's like, I just knew it was going to take us, and of course it did.
Yeah.
But it looked like this roiling cloud when he first approached it.
Yeah.
They're definitely very spectacular, because I'm going to roll us and segue us into the Niagara thing now, because I have had upteen amounts of experiences that really, on a grand scheme of things, it's just peculiarities, like when you mentioned the pastel colors, I've had visions of that. And then driving the one day, it's perfectly beautiful, sunny day. And Wayne was right with me, and he couldn't see it. And I'm going, how can you miss this? It was like a half moon, half circle. And it just kind of went over the whole 4-lane highway further back, which put it obviously up over the river, again with the river. And it was all pastels. But when I had my vision of this, it was a doorway of sorts, a portal of sorts, as you say, a stargate. Like, I've never seen anything like it again since.
No, he was there and he couldn't see it.
He couldn't see it. I'm sitting there, and I'm like, what? Just look at this thing. How do you not see it? And he's going, I don't know.
That's why you've got the extra rod. Some people have 3. Most people have 3 rods, color rods in their eyes, and other people have 4, and you can see the subtleties, I think.
No, it was bright. It was like a rainbow, only not a rainbow, and it was just kind of doing these things.
They do all
green and blues, all pastel.
Was there other traffic on the road?
Couple of other cars maybe coming the other way.
Nobody reacting to it.
Summer, like it's probably like between 5 and 6 at night.
Wow.
And I'm just looking at it. It's just like, and he's like, I'm just like, but there. So I don't know. Like, it was interesting experience, but like there seems to be something about the region that is probably supercharged. I would say because of the falls and all the power plants that are along, a good chunk of the river. It's the only thing I can chalk it up to. Why?
That water is ice cold, and it cools them off, and they are going after the power. They go after the power plant that's up there. They charge.
There was one night when, and it's funny because I happened to be working that night, at the team and picking up that. Okay, there was something in the gorge. Now, the gorge is only about 400 feet. Okay, yeah. It is the deepest, 400 or 450 feet in the whirlpool where the actual gorge is. And Wayne happened to be coming in and something shot right up out of there.
Mm-hmm.
And he said then there were military, one was like a jet that flew out, another one was a helicopter from across the border, just at the base, and just took right off after it. And he texted me literally as it was being RV'd underneath. But we were done by the time it shot up, and it was kind of like, holy shit, that's some validation. But that was it. And I've heard people say that. And you know, working with MUFON, I had another friend who worked for MUFON New York, actually. She was from New York. And she said tons of stories come out of there. It's just almost ridiculous the amount of stories that come out of just upstate New York and throughout, you know, southern, you know, the southern, like for us, you know, for
have there been blackouts up there on those power stations during UFO experiences?
You know what, there wasn't at this time, and there wasn't when we saw that cloud go by, but there are times where brownouts happen all the time in that area, all the time. And blackouts, not that they haven't happened, I think we've had sections because of all of the power plants. It will go down, the city will go down in sections at a time, at least like when we used to live there. But for the whole thing to go where the gorge is, which is the only place I think it could go into the water, is it's off, it's way off past, you know, the whole tourist, past the power plants, everything. So it's crazy. Like you almost have to see it. I could send you guys some pictures of it, you know, where it is. But and it's the same spot that we used to see. And I remember telling you about this, where we would see something in the sky that would just kind of go just like this. And I would say, I got to a point where I could just telepathically say, you know, where are you? And not every time. It's not like it worked every time. If I do that, I'd be playing the lottery. But but you know, I would say probably one time out of 5, I could say, where are you? And it would just go and close right away. And it was only in one section. So something explainable. Sure, anything is possible. But you would thought, you know, it was a light gate at that point.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
The water's not polluted there, right?
Niagara Falls, this tourist haven. So, but no, I don't imagine anything could be.
Most of the water coming through there is pretty clear, right? Clean.
Oh yeah, the whole river is
constantly moving, which definitely helps because you know what I mean.
Yeah, from Lake Erie to Lake Ontario, it moves fast too. When people fall over the falls, they end up in that spot. It's like it's a whirlpool.
Wow.
And that's where they always end up.
Yep.
So
quite a few have done that actually.
Yeah. They estimate about 1 a week, 52 to 53 a year.
Didn't they shut the falls down and go down there and excavate out a lot of stuff in
1800s? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe they did. And there's some barge that's stuck at the very top of the falls now. It keeps moving ever so slowly. Would not want to be on the Maid of the Mist when that thing finally goes over. It's huge. It's a big square rusted heap of metal. So that thing is dangerous. Yeah.
Well, I think there is something to the fact that there's so much water coming down there and the negative ions it produces.
Yeah.
Which could have some weird electrical effects.
Yeah.
But I think it's more than just that, because we do know that UFOs are drawn to water. This is no secret.
Yeah.
And we've got the Great Lakes there. That's one of the world's largest supplies of fresh water.
Mm-hmm.
And so many people see stuff over the Great Lakes and coming in and out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I did find a very, very early case, which is very well authenticated over Niagara Falls.
Okay.
I investigated Niagara Falls, and I'm glad you brought it up because of my hometown series.
Yes.
Where people are like, you know, look up my hometown. And that's what I started doing. I've got 1,000 places to look up. You guys are driving me crazy, but I'm having a lot of fun with it. And someone requested Niagara Falls. I'm like, okay. Yeah. And it was a difficult research project, as you can imagine. The earliest one, get this, 1833. This is one of the earliest UFO sightings, really, that's well authenticated in the United States.
Yeah.
But this occurred at Niagara Falls, and a bunch of people saw this. They described it as, quote, large, square, and luminous, and hovering directly over Niagara Falls for more than an hour. So this was witnessed by more than 1,000 people on both the American and Canadian sides, by the way.
Wow.
And
wow. That's crazy.
Yeah. 1833, they weren't thinking of UFOs.
No.
So they did not know how to describe this, but it clearly wasn't a satellite or a comet.
No, right? There's nothing in the sky. At least you knew you were getting something honest.
Yeah, I wish I could find more information on that, but 1833, that's so long
crazy.
ago.
It's crazy that it's actually documented. I think there've only been a couple, even in the U.S., that may have been documented in the 1600s or the 1700s, isn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
which to some extent is understandable because it wasn't just like it is since 1947 onwards.
Yeah.
And the UFOs are like, these crazy humans, they need some help. Let's come in large numbers and start, giving them some information.
Well, we still do.
One?
Columbus saw one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did. He documented that he saw a light and it came up from under the water.
Yep.
And such. Yep. And then he saw orbs in the sky.
But I was surprised to find so many that were directly connected to the Niagara Falls area. I guess not too surprised because they are seen everywhere. But people sometimes give me towns and I'm like, well, I found one or two.
Well, the environment is just right too, isn't it? With the power plants and with the water being like there's such a force.
I have a question for you, Michelle. What kind of kilowatts do these power plants put out? What's the maximum kilowatt hours that they can produce?
Sorry, you cut out completely when you started the question.
How many kilowatts are these power plants able to produce? Have you ever researched that?
I have not researched this, but but I mean it has to be intense if you have the water streaming through. If you think about everything it's powering up.
Well, the fact that it moves so fast, it's going to be high. ET looks for power in areas like that. The higher the wattage, the better for them. That's why they like high tension wires, but they like them in the trunk lines in places where they're they're have enough stations in between them to like magnify them. And they usually pick trunk lines right behind a station. So the kilowatts are higher. Okay. And plants that generate electricity, they go for the ones with the stronger currents because they're higher kilowatts. So it'd be interesting and fun for y'all to figure that out. How many kilowatts is it putting out? And you can almost look around to see where else this is coming through in our country. And you can look through the 3 most powerful kilowatt producing water generators in this country, and you'll have more UFO sightings there as a result of that because they are looking for power.
Which would make a lot of sense. And I know at one time I remember reading that there were a lot of exercises taking place by the U.S. Air Force over Lake Erie, like in the naval base. That there was just a lot of exercises coming up there, and crafts were often sighted by them in that area because Lake Erie is not very deep. So as it comes like right through this crazy fast moving river that takes you right down into the the falls area, it's intense for sure.
Well, I looked up Niagara Falls. It produces over 4 million kilowatts, 4 gigawatts.
Wow.
U.S. and Canada share the power. There are several hydroelectric plants.
Yes, there are.
And it powers quite a bit of New York, millions of people, it says, which makes sense because, when the Great New York Blackout happened, which they attributed to a mistake in the Sir Adam Beck power plant, it affected, of course, more than just New York, but a good portion of the United States.
That doesn't surprise me at all. That doesn't surprise me at all. And I think it's just getting more intense because the area is growing. So they're adding and adding and adding to it. Yeah. So
and our infrastructure is just getting older and older.
It is. It is. And they just opened up one building that was part of like the old power plant. And now it's opened up for tours. It's kind of been restored a little bit so people could go under and see the mechanics of how things used to work, So it's great. Please feel free, guys, to, you have control of the board as we're all hosts here. So if you see something you'd like to put up, please feel free.
I saw something I took down.
I had to do one of those myself last week. I pride myself on this exceptional chat room. And my chat room is amazing. And somebody had a little faux pas. And okay.
I see a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, but everyone's being very nice in chat, so thank you.
Yeah, no.
But I do have some interesting cases.
Yes, let's go.
Which started really en masse in the 1950s, which makes total sense because that's when they really started coming. But one comes from Project Blue Book. The early cases were mostly military folks because they didn't want to listen to Joe Public, who was not considered credible. That's kind of ridiculous, but it's how this was handled.
Yeah.
But Project Blue Book had a very early case in June 1st, 1951, over Niagara Falls. This is case number 928, which I believe was ultimately unexplained, because when you have military officers viewing this, it's very hard to debunk them. But apparently 2 enlisted men, one was a sergeant, saw this glowing yellow-orange saucer-shaped object with kind of arc-shaped, not wings so much, but very much like Dolly describes Talata, a sort of boomerang shape. Yeah. And they saw this thing moving, and then it went straight up. But they saw it for 30, 40 seconds, a fairly long time. A lot of these early cases don't have a whole lot of information. There was another Blue Book case, 1957, again, very brief, but it does involve a pilot and a sergeant who saw a brilliant white circular object. And what makes this case good is not only is it over Niagara Falls, but it's darting around. It's moving at right angles, pivoting, climbing, diving, flew over the lake, rose vertically, and was gone.
Wow.
So they're doing something over the lake.
Yeah.
Perhaps cooling off, like Dolly says they often do.
Yeah. Yeah.
But,
well, it's a place to do it. Quick shower, get out.
Here, listen to this one. This is unusual, talking about the weird clouds and stuff. August 7, 1952, half an hour past midnight. A bunch of people saw this. Residents, military personnel at the Shawnee Radar Station, a Lake Erie Coast Guard base, the 136th Fighter Squadron at Niagara Falls Field. A bunch of people saw this. And it was described as a dazzling mass of colored lights, green, white, orange, and red, directly over Niagara Falls. And did this appear on radar? No, apparently it was hovering over the Welland Canal at one point, connecting Lake Erie to Lake Ontario.
And what year was this?
52.
August 7, 1952.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that would have been fairly new. They're probably wondering what the heck they were doing. It's a huge undertaking, that Welland Canal. That was a huge undertaking to build that.
Oh, that's artificially done?
Oh. Yeah. It's all the lift bridges, it's where all all the seafaring vessels come in from the Great Lakes, and they go down. They have to go down 450 feet. Or go up 450 feet. That's the height of the falls to go from one lake to the other, from Lake Ontario to Erie.
Wow. Yeah.
It's a modern marvel. You can see it if you just have a look at it online. It is try to do an overhead of it. There's a lot of the sea captains who will actually take videos as they're going through, and they'll speed them up for you. It's unbelievable. So I could see why they would be curious, especially, if it was relatively new at the time.
I think more than curious.
Oh, yeah.
Check, because I did I've got a whole supplemental notes here on other hydroelectric stations around the world. There is not one major hydroelectric station that hasn't been visited at least once.
Wow.
Seriously.
That's crazy. That would be
Niagara Falls would be at the top of the list there, I think.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
But that one is really cool because it has all those colored lights. And I always wonder about these craft with so many lights on them. Like, why? Do they want to be seen? Why are they lit up like Christmas trees? People ask me that, Dolly.
Question. You answered it. They want to be seen. That's right. And they're like cuttlefish. They can show you anything, and they'll color up just so you can see them. Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, we have a friend who got a pretty interesting photo a few years ago. She's a professional photographer, so she's got really good lenses on her camera. and she captured a photo. And when you look up at the close up, it's definitely a craft. But again, that was before, probably about 5-6 years ago. So right over Lake Erie.
Yep.
Wow.
One of the things I will tell you that they do, and why they would be interested in the locks is, y'all don't think about this, but these engines on these huge monstrous boats that go through these locks and stuff like that, or even small engines, depending on the size of the lake or the body of water they're going through, are polluting as they go along. Bits of oil go in, gasoline, chemicals, all kinds of stuff. Whatever they're carrying can leach through hulls. Rust can leach all kinds of chemicals into the water and stuff like that. And they're literally have always monitored the vitality of water on this planet and what we're doing to ourselves with it. And it's amazing. You think that they only have one agenda. They don't. They have thousands of things that they watch, look at, and measure here. And they're keeping tabs on us. It isn't just us they're interested in. They're interested in the health of this planet and how we're affecting it. And they're checking things all the time. So
yeah, there's a lake in Chile that they pull tons of water out. UFOs are known for taking the water out of there. And I do have a memory of being on board a craft once, and they took me. This is such a cool thing that I recall going down to like the bottom section of the craft. You know how they have those skateboard parks with all these kind of cool little shades?
Yeah.
That's what it reminded me of. And the water comes pouring in, and it was so pure. It's ice cold, like right above freezing. And you could smell it. It smelled different from the water you see here. Even in, there's some high lakes in the Sierras I've been to, which were super pure, or Montana. This was different.
Yeah.
I didn't get to touch it or anything, but the mist was coming up. I'm like, wow, it was just so impressive. I did forget it, but I did remember.
Yeah. It's the kind of water where you only get up at the top if you're in the Alps, or like when I travel anywhere in the world, I love mountains, and that's where I try to gravitate to. And you just get up there, where you can almost see snow, and the water is just so. It's like it just has its own taste more than right.
Right.
So
do they clean the water, Dolly, that they take from
No, they use it. The craft actually uses a lot of water in its hydraulics. Okay, you understand that it acts like a living being, so it cools itself down on the inside. It uses water for everything. We have water on board to drink. They're living beings on there. They need water. And every now and then they'll come and siphon water off because they use it. You don't produce electricity without water either. You can't hold electricity in a battery without using water.
I just have this image of Talata being like, you know what, I'm thirsty. I need to go and get a drink.
So yeah, they take on water. They absolutely do. The purer, the better. They're not going to use polluted water. Why would they do that? So yeah.
Yeah.
Well, here's a case involving humanoids. It's not directly over the falls, but because Niagara Falls is a city.
It is.
But
yeah,
it's
both sides of the border. Yeah.
But this was a snowy morning in January of 1958, 1:30 a.m. A woman is driving right on the thruway near Niagara Falls, and she sees this dark saucer-shaped object. And as she drives close, this is right over the road, right next to the road. And she drives up to it, looking at it, and her engine stops, stalls. So that, of course, is a huge red flag. Her headlights went out. And so she got out to investigate, and she noticed little humanoids moving around it. And they quickly ran into the craft, and it rose up, spun around, got to an elevation of 10 feet up, and darted away. She ran to the spot where they were, and all the snow was melted in this circle, this perfect circle. And it was dry all the way down to the grass. It wasn't just melted, it was dry.
Wow. That's crazy. It sounds that would have been like on the American side, the throughways.
The New York State Thruway near.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not going to get anything that big right in Niagara Falls, Canada, that's for sure. So, coming in maybe, but not that close. But very interesting.
So yeah, there's quite a few cases. Not a whole lot directly over Niagara Falls, but there's a few.
It's a big area. Yeah.
Yeah. This one is kind of an interesting case that, let's see, was seen from Niagara Falls and surrounding areas. Bunch of people, September 22nd, 1965, which, by the way, is like right before the New York State blackout.
Oh, funny that.
But all of these people were seeing UFOs, policemen, residents, and they described it as globe-shaped, reflective, and metallic. They watched it swerving all over this place, including a reporter for the Niagara Gazette and his 2 children watched this object cruise directly over Niagara Falls. It was seen by other people as it passed over other cities and hung around for apparently a half an hour.
Wow.
Niagara Falls Air Force Base denied any knowledge.
Shocker. But I mean, do you think it would make sense? Like, for those who have not been, if you hover right over the falls themselves, there's so much mist that comes up. It's unbelievable. It's almost like you're in the middle of a rainstorm. If you're very close to them, like, you're walking alongside, you get drenched. Do you think they could just be hovering in and just having a little cool down as they go by? Would there be enough?
Or sightseeing? I mean, why not?
Maybe they're sightseeing. I would sightsee. Sure.
Two Greys are getting married. They're on their
honeymoon capital of the world. Right.
It's on displaying. They're doing like people like they would do for a movie theater. Outdoor movie theater, a car park. Niagara Falls, they know there's lots of people. It would be displaying. If they're acting like that, it's a display, deliberate display. So
yeah, that's so funny how they would just do that. And now it's just like they just don't even want to be bothered, like it's just not safe. So, Dolly, once I saw a big manta ray UFO and it went into a white cloud and it electrified it.
Yeah, that can happen. Yeah. Actually, the cloud reacted to its, they emit either positive or negative charge. And if they go into a cloud with the opposite charge, lightning occurs. That's what you were seeing. You're seeing it charge. And it's sometimes they do it deliberately because they're trying to get the lightning from the cloud to hit them and charge from that too. They'll directly array into a lightning storm just to get the lightning to charge. So yeah, that's what you saw.
That's really interesting because the cloud that we saw, that's what it would do. You can almost time it going, and then it would come out and it was just like another one.
Yeah.
I mean, every few minutes, not like it was like right on it. It was just like maybe every, 5, 6 minutes.
They can change their polarity depending on what's underneath them on the ground. If the ground is all negative polarity, they'll be positive. That's anti-grav, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're riding on the different polarities repelling one another. Okay. Mm-hmm. Movement while they're on batteries. And if they start running low, and there's clouds available, they'll run up into the cloud and they know what clouds are positive and negative, and they'll go into the opposite polarity just to get the lightning to charge to recharge their batteries. They do. Yeah.
Yeah. So, see, that makes sense to me. When you explain it, it's like, yes, that makes sense. Wayne says, he goes, I will tell you, I experienced a craft fully cloaked to match the night sky. It was 1 January. This is probably about 7 years ago, 8 years ago, if I have to take a guess. It was a cold, clear night, and I could hear it come over top. And this was at the Manor House. So it was like really high over the towers and over my head. And it went from north to south.
Mm-hmm. So that seems reasonable. Yeah. They generally travel in those directions, no matter where they are geographically, because of the way our planet, rotates and everything. Yeah. And the way the electricity rotates with it and everything, they would be traveling north to south. It's rare to see one going in the opposite direction. So yeah, if it's going a long way, it'll go north to south. So yeah, they're riding polarity. Yeah.
Well,
would they take electricity directly from a power plant? Because well, here's a case, April 6, 1968, 2:15 a.m. And they do seem to come around in those early morning hours. But this was observed by 3 police officers, which always, I think, adds a little bit of a level of credibility there, because they are the watchers. They're out there. Thomas Shumway, we got their names, William Wells, Richard Atkin, saw a mysterious glowing object pulsating with colored lights and white lights, hovering directly over the Sir Adam Beck power plant by the Ontario Hydroelectric Power Commission. and it was observed by other outside witnesses.
Yeah, they'll take it directly from anywhere. If they need power, they will go straight to wherever it's most convenient. And a power plant or a hydroelectric are number one on the list. Always go for that one first. And then they'll use lightning, they'll use major trunk line power lines and stuff like that. If they can get a charge, they'll go for it. And the longer they're in atmosphere, the harder their batteries are working. And so they have to recharge from time to time. Otherwise, they bug out, till you get it somewhere else. They have to go back on. They recharge from their own ability to generate their own power, but they have to be well away from us to do that. So, yeah.
Yeah, there was one guy, speaking of that, this is funny to me. He had a UFO hover over his home. That month, his power electric bill was double.
Wow, can you imagine? Footing the bill for a craft.
Yeah, they're sucking off the house, yeah.
Gives a whole other meaning to charging the electric vehicle, doesn't it? Casey wants to know, is it correct that true ET crafts, the huge triangle ones, produce zero sound? I'll leave that to you guys.
The huge triangle ones are TR3Bs. They're back engineered, and they do make a sound. Yes, they do. But they're us, not ET. And if they're black, that's your number one tip off. ET has no black craft unless they're arraying black, and it's usually to hide in the night sky. If you see black mat of any kind, and it's triangular, that is a TR3B, period.
Yeah, but we were talking about this earlier because I think a lot of people are describing these craft as triangular, and sometimes they just look that way and from a different angle, because people describe cylindrical, and then it turns and looks, saucer shaped. So sometimes it's a matter of perspective.
Yeah, but if some people see that, ask him, all right, answer this question. Was it triangular with a point of light in each one of the points of the triangle and a light in the center? Is that what you saw?
Yeah, that sounds like a TR3B.
That would be a TR3B. But if it was triangular shaped and it wasn't moving, and you heard, they make a low bass. Yeah, have you ever heard an elephant rumble? It's that sound. You hear that from a craft that's low to the ground and it's over you. Yes, you'll hear that.
That's the TR3B that makes the rumbling noise.
TR3B, no, they make the high squeaky sound. They have a weird electrical sound to them because you can hear spinning turbines in them. Okay, almost like a Harrier jet, and it's muffled a lot, but that's the sound. If you ever heard a Harrier when it's really working, it's well, they've suppressed the sound in it, but you can still hear that generating circular sound. It's low, but you can hear it. But
so what's that in comparison to a sentient craft?
A sentient craft, if it's low enough, if it's about 500 feet over your head, you can hear, if you have really good hearing, you can hear a low, like an elephant's, that low frequency rumbling sound.
Sounds like to me, it sounds like a drone,
yeah, a little bit, yeah, without the twirly bird sound. It's a constant certain frequency that you're picking up, and most people feel it in the side of their neck near their ear right here. Okay, some people feel it in their chin or their nose, but that's the one. That's the sound, and that's the batteries working. That's what you're hearing.
Yeah, I hear people struggling to describe this. Some say it just sounds like a swarm of bees.
That sort of, yeah. People, it depends on your hearing. Yeah.
A whooshing noise. People will describe it as an almost musical hum, like one guitar being strung, but remaining in the air going, the slight wavering.
Yeah.
But slightly musical. People
somewhat, yeah, they create a certain tones that are absolutely musical. That's absolutely true. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that they can make loud noises if they want, because there's a few schoolyard encounters where they drew people outside by just blaring this noise.
Yeah. Wow.
Hey! Yeah. Hello. Yeah.
Stroke you out. Oh gosh. Okay. So what's next, Preston?
Okay, let's see. Here is one. April 25, 1978, another police officer, Ronald Sardina. I like this one because he received a call about a UFO. And so he went outside and saw it. There it was. And it actually remained there for about 3 hours. A bunch of people saw it, and it was blinking on and off, but was directly over Niagara Falls. So I think that would fall into the category, once again, of a display.
Yep.
why else would you hang out there for so long?
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, when did they stop coming around and wanting to be noticed? Let's put it that way, maybe.
They started bugging out in 2021. Okay, so all of that displaying stuff right around 2021. By May of 2022, they were mostly gone, and by the beginning of June, they were gone. Okay, so 2021, the displaying stopped. Absolutely. Stopped.
Which totally matches up with what I found with the schoolyards, because I do have them over drive-in theaters, but they're almost non-existent now. The latest ones I could find for schoolyards were 2018, 2019. That was pretty much it.
Yeah. And that makes sense because I haven't had any sort of vivid experiences in probably since that time. And any experiences I have now are just mostly visionary or sound related, maybe just through
connected. Yeah. You're totally connected up. Yeah.
Nothing like what it used to be. It's almost like it amped up and then it just died down. So that makes sense. Another question based on
that up.
Feel free. Why do you hear the sound in your head behind your ears?
Could that be like the implants that sometimes people have?
Yeah. You know what a cochlear implant is, right? It's the implant is like right behind your ear back here. Okay. And then they put the sensor right here because it hears, from the cochlea, it transmits to that thing back there. And you have a nerve back there, and that's the nerve that's picking it up. If you have an implant in your neck or in your sinus, it makes it. That's why I said it's either your chin, your nose, or your ear, and one of those three, you'll pick it up that way.
Is that why you get the nosebleeds if you've got them? Because you hear so many contactees saying, "I get nosebleeds."
You get nosebleeds because that implant is keeping the blood thin so it doesn't create a big ass scar. Excuse my French. Yeah. And it keeps the blood thinner there. And your blood pressure can make it pop, so that you're bleeding from it and you don't know it. It's high up in your sinus and it's like, oh Lord. Doctors used to think you had leukemia all the time, but it didn't match up with the data they were getting because more people had nosebleeds than leukemia. And they're like, what's going on? And it drove them crazy. And you realize there's implants going on.
Let's see. That answers that. So what is it that Chris Bledsoe and the Skywatchers are summoning if they are gone?
That is a very good question. And I'm going to tell you that they are not getting ET. I would guess, I'm making a more than educated guess. This is a knowledgeable guess that it is back engineered psychic abilitied craft. They've technologically engineered psychic ability in AI now. Okay. It can hear you, it can transmit to you, and they're using craft like that they back engineered with that type of technology. Yep. Because they can't communicate with the inhabitants in the craft while it's running. And you have to be psychic to hear the ground tell you what to do. And they had to come up with that technology to do that. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Is it possible that ETs could be appearing as orbs in a sort of remote viewing or apparitional way?
Yeah, they can. I mean, I can OBE to you and appear to you as a blue orb. I'm blue for some reason. I don't know what the hell that is. Excuse my French again. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. It's not censorable.
I show up as a bloody blue orb, okay? And it's so weird. And I've been photographed, actually. They've invited me to OBE over, and then everybody's waiting with cameras. And then when I get there, somebody's on the phone in another room. Are you there? Are you there? And everybody's nodding their heads, and everybody starts taking pictures. And by golly, they say, where are you standing? Where are you standing? And I tell them in the house where I'm standing, and that's exactly where I show up. And they say, well, move to another room. And I don't tell them where I am. And then they'll say, okay, where are you now? They're getting the pictures of it. And I'll say, I'm in the living room, or I'm in the kitchen, or I'm outside now. I went out the back door. And they're like, oh my God, she's doing it. It's really real. ET does this as well.
Can they do that now is what I'm thinking, because perhaps that is what's happening.
Yes, they can bilocate, OBE, bilocate, and they can show up as orbs, either white, blue, or purple.
My question is, if this were ET, why would they just remain high up in the sky as an orb, not show a craft? Because a lot of people have done CE5s and a craft shows up, and it's a craft.
They're fluking. They are spying on you, deciding whether they're going to come down or not. That's why. And now they're just going to fluke. They're just going to show up and spy on you that way. Look and see what you're doing. Why are you calling us? What do you want? Because they can hear you clean across the universe. If they're connected to you, they're connected to you. And but before there'd be a craft up there, it's hidden. They've got three things going on. One, they're trying to stay afloat in a bad magnetosphere. The second one is they're watching out for stupid, jets flying around them, okay, air traffic and all that kind of stuff. And then they're trying to decide if you're a good witch or a bad witch. They want to know if you're for real good enough to come down for or not. And they will spy by remote viewing you or orbiting you.
Well, I do think we need to be concerned because a guy interviewed in Europe was told directly by the Greys that CE5s can be problematic right now because of the technology our governments have and will abuse it, which is no surprise because that's what they do. So, and I know Chris Bledsoe is known by the military, and he has actually, corresponded with some fairly high-level government guys. So I hope that there's no hoodwinking going on here, but I'm concerned about it, because they could do that and absolutely fool a person.
If there's a way of taking advantage, they will. When do you think they'll be coming back, Dolly? When do you think ET?
We're looking at the pulse completely finished changing, and I will tell you this: if we have that CME before that happens, it'll be grid down and y'all are on your own. Okay, which is serious. If it happen, if the pulse finished changing before the CME hits, then you will see them come in fast and furious. They will come in and pick up as many people as they can get in one shot. That means worldwide, UFOs everywhere landing and doors opening and saying, get on now and haul out of here as fast as they can. Because the CME is coming. It will down our grid. And they are just waiting, patiently waiting for one of those two scenarios to occur. I was taught that it's probably going to be the CME first, then the pulse finish changing, and then they come. And the governments know this as well. And that's why they're doing what they're doing. So,
well, how do you, that was going to be my next question. What's stopping them from doing the same thing with their back engineered crafts coming on and just...
They can't leave the earth with them. They can't go anywhere. They don't have the same technology.
And they don't have enough to...
Right, they don't have enough. The technology that they have, they can fly in atmosphere. Okay, they cannot leave the atmosphere. They are not technologically advanced for that, and they are not technologically advanced to protect themselves from gamma radiation coming in. I know that there are people out there lying about that, saying, "Oh no, they can." That field that's around them protects them from it. No, it does not. That's why ET light gates, they don't travel in conventional space at all. They prefer to go from atmosphere to atmosphere for that reason. That's why they can't be here, because our magnetosphere is bad right now. So they don't have the technology. They don't have the same kind of energy source to run those craft. And it's the difference between a bicycle and a Ferrari. They're riding bikes still. Okay, ET are in the Ferraris, and so no, they can't. They cannot be. What they are planning on doing, what they think they are going to do, is survive it till ET comes back, and you're in the way. That's what I'm going to tell you. So when that CME hits, you're on your own. They're not going to help you do anything. And they're already making it difficult for everybody because they've dumbed you down. You don't know survival techniques. You don't know how to do your own farming, gathering food, and all that kind of stuff. They've made it almost impossible for mankind to stay sustainably on this planet when it happens. That's bad. We all need to wake up to that. We all need to start practicing how to live without the convenience of electricity.
Going back to basics, essentially, is what you're saying.
I was just looking into another contactee case, and the guy, it was a family of three. They told the guy, "You're doing a good job with your building a cabin off grid and stocking it with food." And a lot of contactees have gotten this message. And when I started interviewing Dolly, and she talked about, "Oh yeah, the sky's filling with craft," that really rang a bell with me, because I can't tell you how many times I've heard this from contactees. Some have passed away and didn't get to live to see this event. We'll see it, of course, because life is eternal. But At some point, a lot of contactees get this message, and it could be through the dream state or just an impression or telepathic, or they're actually told face to face, this will happen.
Yeah.
And I think what our government, this is what worries me, because no, they don't have, 100,000 TR3Bs. That would just be impossible for me to imagine. But with holographic technology developed to the degree it is, all they need is one, and they can project, 100 others.
That's true.
Either run to a city for safety and that city get demolished. That's how they're going to do it. I want to tell you something. This is important. I want y'all to realize that ET sends messages to us every day. They're totally broadcasting at us. And all you have to do is listen. And you will get as many downloads as you want on what to do, period. That's why they want your abilities up and running. They have not stopped broadcasting to us. They have not stopped sending everybody messages. And those that can hear are hearing it. And I'm hoping that everybody understands that. It's important. You want to know what the truth is, they're going to tell you, not the government at all. They're not.
And this is what raises, like, what I'll say for myself and where the concerns come from. And I think people may second guess themselves because of it. But I agree, because that's, for me, it's very telepathic or in visions, because I specifically will ask for it as well. I mean, some of it will just maybe come, wee early hours, you get back into that twilight sleep. But I specifically ask. And the thought is, it's there before I even have a chance to question it. However, now we live in the world of AI.
Yeah, and they can talk to you in your sleep.
See, this is where I was going to go. So how is somebody supposed to
turn your bloody Wi-Fi off? Fair day, all your phones, shut it down. Go to sleep in Wi-Fi free areas. Faraday.
I wanted you to talk about, because this is something that's important and needs to be said.
You have to do that. You have to put up a Faraday up against being talked to in your sleep by these guys, or even broadcast to during the day, because they can. All right. Turn off the Wi-Fi. Get rid of Alexa. What's the other one? Siri. Get rid of.
I have her turned off. It's been turned off for years.
Smart your house. Okay. Pull the wires out. Get rid of them.
Hardwire everything.
Yeah. If you want
just think how far this could be taken, because now that they're cloning people's voices, they can absolutely, take your voice. So if they can insert that telepathically, and suddenly you're receiving messages from
yourself,
could be anybody. This sounds like someone I know. Might not be someone you know.
Frightening, isn't it? It's frightening.
No,
when you think about it.
Shut them up. Turn it off. It works. They have made you. It's like a mama giving her baby a pacifier. We have the pacifier technology in our mouths. Take it out. Quit relying on that pacifier to survive and do what you need to do. Y'all know how to read their books. Y'all know how to think. Use your brains. Y'all have abilities. Use them. We did this for eons and eons and eons without their help. Okay. Do it again, because the day is coming where it's absolutely necessary that you've done that. So
we're definitely there. Okay, a couple questions. Preston, what does Preston think about Bob Lazar's explanations of UFO propulsion systems? Horizontal when traveling over Earth, gravity will travel vertical when traveling through space. Is it real? I'll leave that up. It's a long one.
Yeah, thanks, Kason. I think that there's some truth to what you're saying here. I'm not sure I'd put it exactly that way. When Bob Lazar first came out, I was really impressed, because just intuitively hearing him speak, it really felt like he was speaking from knowledge. He was one of the first whistleblowers. And I think as time has gone on, he's been further and further vindicated. And another reason I feel like he's telling the truth is because I interviewed a gentleman from Spanish Fork, Utah, who had an encounter. And he said when he saw the Bob Lazar diagrams, he's like, that's the craft I was on. Now, I will say that, yes, I think this is one of the markers that you can see when someone's describing a true UFO event, is how they're flying. There's sort of a wavering effect, like Dolly describes that boat on the waves. And when they rise up, they will turn vertical and shoot off. You saw that in the Westall High School case. There's another case, Maranui, New Zealand, over the Richmond Elementary School. 400 kids saw that. It's one of the most widely viewed schoolyard encounters.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I would say it's on Earth as opposed to in space.
Yeah.
But Dolly would probably have more knowledge on that than I would from a first-hand perspective.
I want to bring something up. What he said is incorrect. Bob Lazar did not put anything like that on paper, invoice, or whatever. I don't know how he heard that, or maybe he's misconstrued it, but that did not come out of Bob Lazar's mouth. Okay. I know that for a fact. What Bob Lazar does say is that they have, it does not call it a propulsion system. He knows what kind of system it is. He knows it's nuclear, a type of nuclear. He knows it's electromagnetic, and he knows it's working against field guidelines and electromagnetic currents. Okay. He does know this. He knows what element is used to use in the energy well to create the type of nuclear that they do use, and it's unfindable on this planet. There's no such thing as it being here naturally. So that's a problem. CERN is open to create an element that can cause an electromagnetic response, and they use a circular type of like a Harrier jet, it circulates like this, and it causes an electromagnetic effect. But it has to be super cooled, and it's a certain type of element that we can find here. That's why they're riding bicycles right now. They don't have that technology that ET has. They are approximating it. In space, outside our magnetosphere, there is no need for them to worry about having a field guideline because of gravitational forces inside our magnetosphere. It's the gravity of our planet that they're riding against. That's why they need the magnetic lines to repulse or attract, so that they can stay afloat in the air and do what they do and ride around. That is anti-grav. Okay, outside there is no anti-grav. There's no gravity in space, and they can use a different type of power that their emitters actually become sails inside there, where they create the inner field and the outer field, and they move through space like it's nothing because of those emitters. But they don't prefer to travel in space. They do not travel in space. You do not see them. If you see it in space, you see them way high up. They're still in our atmosphere. They're not in conventional space at all. They're below where the ISS is floating around. Okay, they are in our magnetosphere. They do not travel out in outer space. They light gate, they go through dimensional space to travel. It is dangerous in space. It can kill you. Overexposure can reduce your DNA to nothing and kill you. They don't use
and space is not empty either. It's described that way, but it's really not. It's filled with all
kinds of stuff going on, and you can get pelted really bad in space. So they don't use it at all.
They're not traveling at faster than light speeds or even approximating light speeds. That's a sort of Earth viewpoint that, and you know from a scientific perspective, if you start learning physics, that you really can't travel faster than the speed of light. Because your mass increases the faster you go. You would reach infinite mass essentially. So no, they don't even travel in that sense. Do they need speed, Dolly, to go interdimensional, or can they just do it from standing still?
They do it from standing still. They go through very easily. It's a big window they're opening up to go interdimensionally, and they just glide in. The dimensional space that they go into pulls them where they're going. It's almost like a frequency change. They change the frequency of this and that dimension is what they lock onto, and they just go through it. Just pulls them straight to it. It's like folding space. Einstein was real close to knowing exactly how that works. Real close. Okay, and so they're opening dimensional doors and going through, and they can travel light years in half a second or less. So, okay.
Which is how they travel back in time, essentially, or right?
Yeah. Well, it's positioning. We're in a timeline here. They go outside the timeline. Okay. And so when they come back in, they can come in slightly before they left, so that they can get you back to the point, like right after you left, you're back again, like within minutes of it. So you don't know that you left or came back. It's weird. Our astronauts proved that time and distance changes time. There's less time for the person at distance than there is for the person staying here. So the astronauts who are going around the Earth in the ISS are actually not experiencing the same time that we are here. They're younger when they come back. They haven't aged like we have. And that's a mind-blowing concept, but it's real. It's actually true. They've tracked it, and they've done all. They know for a fact that this is occurring. Astronauts in space are not really up there for a year. We think they're there because that's what we perceive, but from their perspective, they are not. So deal with that.
Right. Okay. All right. Next, what do you guys think of Peter Thiel being so involved and interested in ufology?
Yeah, there's lots of new people appearing on the UFO scene, and he said some stuff that it's kind of, I don't know, I can't say I agree with it, that they're demonic or angelic, and that they're traveling faster than light, and they're a spiritual phenomena. He's a tech guy. He's very, and everyone, I have to give kudos who enters this field and starts commenting about it, because I think it is going mainstream. But these guys have been talking about the UFOs behind the scenes for a very long time. Anyone who's that smart, I guess would be a way of putting it, knows UFOs are real. And I think people have been studying it for a very long time. Elon Musk has said some things about UFOs like, really? I know. It just makes me shake my head. And that's kind of where I'm at with this guy. I haven't really followed him because I'm just trying to keep abreast of what's going on here. The scene's changing so fast. I'm really happy to see all these people who are major power.
I don't pay attention to this stuff. So who the heck is this guy? What does he do?
He's a tech guy, kind of like Elon Musk, something along those lines.
Right. Well, they're all trying to get out into space now. So
is he an engineer? What is he engineer? And what's his
I don't know enough about him.
Up to. Okay.
Didn't the VP guy just start saying things about UFOs too? Vice President, what's his name? Vance. He's starting to talk about UFOs as well.
Do you think this is just like prep work?
Yes, it's false flagging. We're all going to wake up one day real soon, and it's going to be, we have a national security incident. And
they're saying that now. They're saying there's some craft just parked.
I know. Leading the way and flying the flag. Greer is starting to come out with this annoys the heck out of me. He says that they're pissed off at us, and they're
retaliate.
And about had enough of us. And it's like, why did you say that? If you believe they're benevolent and know they are, and you say it and you purport it, why would you say something like that? It's not true. Right. And this lowers my rating on what he's thinking and what he's doing and who he really is. He's starting to show himself for who he really is. And that's disconcerting to me. I don't.
Dolly predicted that to me too. She's like, watch out for him. He might turn one day. I'm like, no. He's always said, he's one of the few people out there who's really stuck to his guns on, they're not here to hurt us.
All the world's a stage.
I have abilities, and I'm psychic as hell. And when I tap you and I find out that you're not okay in my head. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I told Preston. He's not okay. So
basic deceptions are done by flooding the arena with lots and lots of information, much of which conflicts each other. This overwhelms the masses to such a degree that people stop paying attention.
Right. Plausible.
New Jersey way. Right.
Yeah. It's an art form. Yeah.
Yeah. So, false flag. Okay, Preston, do you have another story? And then we can. Do you have any more cases?
I've got a couple.
Well, whatever you want. I want to give you the time to say.
I'm kind of run out of my Niagara Falls story.
But whatever you want. Then
there's a few.
Then I'll get back to questions. Just trying to break it up. Yeah.
There was one in 1979, an anonymous family. They didn't want to identify themselves, thanks to the cover-up, making UFO witnesses look like idiots.
Yeah.
But they were driving by Niagara Falls when they saw an orb-like object streaking across the sky, which they thought was definitely interesting, but became even more convinced when two military jets were scrambled from Niagara Air Force Base and took off in pursuit of the object. And I have to agree with them. Because when you see an object and then it's being chased by military jets.
Well, that's what I said.
Right? Probably not our own, unless they're escorting it.
Yeah.
But we see this so many times. When I was investigating the wave of sightings off the Southern California coast, I would say 20, 25%, 30 even involved objects that were being chased. Because that's a heavily militarized area with, Seal Beach Weapons Station and LAX, with a base right next to it, in Port Hueneme and Vandenberg a little bit farther, and San Clemente Island is military.
Mm-hmm.
So they were chasing these things all over the place. Whenever anyone describes that, I'm like, yeah, that's probably a UFO.
Mm-hmm.
But let me see. The latest one I could find over Niagara Falls was 2009. Numerous residents observed. This is in Ontario, actually. Saw UFOs for 3 hours, 9 p.m. to midnight. They said,
Wow.
never seen anything like it. But there was a wave in 1980 where UFOs were appearing so frequently over Niagara Falls that people were gathering to watch them. And some guy took photographs. They're little white smudges in the sky, so not great by today's standards.
Yeah.
But one of the witnesses was an aeronautical engineer, and he'd take his family out and watch them. And he says, quote, "I have a security clearance. I've got 45 years experience, and I've never seen anything like it." So yeah, 1980, and that's clearly another case of them doing their little shows.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. Definitely different times.
Yeah, lots of unexplained light sightings, but those aren't as interesting to me as the actual craft sightings.
Yes. No, I find it fascinating when so many people can see, can experience the event, because it just, it just makes it, not that it's not credible when if you're only the one person seeing it. I think maybe sometimes things are just meant for the contactee, up close and personal. But when you have a mass sighting, it's very exciting.
Is there any such thing as an experiencers convention? Well, it's all experiencers, no leaders, ufologists per se, but experiencers coming together. Is there anything like that going on?
That's happened a few times, but they usually do invite investigators as well.
It's like a consciousness convention or something, isn't it?
Okay.
There was the Experiencers Conference. I think it was called exactly that.
Oh,
yeah.
Gosh,
don't quote me on
maybe
that,
you guys should do one.
It's a good idea.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
I know. Anything on Atlas, the interstellar thing heading our way?
I've got some.
Here we go.
That one makes me mad because here we have. What's the guy's name? The astronomer who's pushing this?
Tyson?
No, it's the other guy.
Avi Loeb.
Avi Loeb, yeah. Here's my problem with this. Here we have an object way the heck out there. UFOs are coming to our planet pretty much instantly from distant star systems. If you're seeing something that's kind of meandering its way, blah, 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 what makes you think it's a UFO? What makes you think this is an ET craft? It's absolutely absurd. And for him to say, well, it could be coming to hurt us. Really? Why would you say that? What evidence do you have?
I want to make 3 points right off the bat. I've already said it. I'm going to say it again. Mr. Avi Loeb, listen carefully. ET is not going to put themselves in conventional space in something that can kill them, i.e. an asteroid or even a other type of object or body object without any protection from gamma radiation. And since everything in space is got gamma going through it, there is nothing that it can't go through. They would never, ever travel conventionally. Stop lying to people. Stop making a big deal out of nothing. If you've got nothing better to do today, tomorrow, and the next day, please stop doing that. Think of something else.
Call yourself a scientist. Honestly.
Stop it. Because it's not true. It's not real. And it is misinformation in the extreme. Stop it. Okay, I'm done.
Yeah, I'm gonna pop this up from Kay. Yeah, I don't want to call out people, but if you look him up, you can see for yourself who this guy really is.
There we go. So,
I'm just gonna say you're doing something that's not right, and it's misinformation. Point blank, it is not true. Stop it. Okay.
Yeah, and it's not too late to be on the right side of truth. Come on.
Right. Exactly.
If you call yourself a scientist, it's not that hard to tell the truth. It's easier than lying.
Stop. I think right now, it falls under, people who are doing it deliberately, people who may not. They may be information that they have found that they resonates with them, and that's what they go with. But I think that we're being deceived enough by the powers that be. It would be nice to see people get on the same page as researchers to try to counter all the rhetoric that's coming out there from the higher up the higher levels, you know?
Well, there's a hitch to this. Avi Loeb has funding, and he is ruled by that funding. He won't keep his funding if he doesn't keep a narrative going. And that's the problem. I'm going to call out what it actually is. And he needs to go rogue. He needs to do real science without their help. He needs to find private investors who are willing to see the truth and hear the truth, instead of agencies, governmental or, you know, military industrial complex, who have a grip on his neck and what he says. That's the problem. Most of these mainstream guys who are funded by the very people you don't want talking to you, because they're not telling you the truth to begin with. And I'm not a conspiracy person. I'm just telling you the facts. The facts are you're heavily, heavily funded. And there are plenty of astronomers, physicists, and astrophysicists out there who know the truth of it and are talking about it, strongly talking about it. I'll name one right off the bat, Sabine, Dr. Sabine. She's in Germany right now. She's like, y'all need to shut up. Y'all need to stop it and stop lying to these people. It's over. Stop it. You know?
I mean, even Carl Sagan at one time used to be, you know, followed somewhat. You know, you have to, if they're funding you, you have to, a lot of that funding comes with stipulations. However, when the funding stopped, he went very public with, you know, UFOs, and the research changed and his narrative changed. And, you know, it was, I was happy to see it for sure.
I want to pop this up by Patsy Foister because she makes a good point. I feel the whistleblowers are part of the false flag because they are being, quote, allowed by the government to speak publicly.
Well, see, that's a really good point.
Right?
Yeah.
Because I think this is exactly what's happening in some of these cases. Some, I think, are absolutely being forced to push a certain narrative at essentially gunpoint, if you know what I mean. Others, I think, are gullible stooges. I hate to put it that way. I think some are legitimate whistleblowers for sure, but if they truly had a story that our governments did not, I use the term governments loosely, the secret governments didn't want revealed, they would not be.
That's what I was going to say. Like, I mean, people end up in a lot of trouble for coming out with things they're not supposed to come out with. You know, like some of these people just kind of, you don't hear from them again. And I think the ones that are speaking it, you know, are allowed to say maybe certain things. That's how they're getting away with it.
We got a lot of people on this planet who have stinking thinking. They have no empathy in them. They have no love of mankind at all whatsoever. They only love themselves, how they think, their egos, and what they can get out of it. And they're the ones in control right now. And we need to stand up to them and tell them, stop now. You need to reconsider, because your time is short here and you don't know what you're doing to yourself, and you need to cut it out, because the rest of us want to make something out of this existence, and we have a right to do that. They just need to stop and take stock, because what they believe is going to happen for them is not. They believe their own stinking thinking, and they are absolutely 100% wrong. They don't know what they're doing. They don't. They have no idea.
Okay, here's one for you. Tell us what you think of the lady who found the UFOs in the Washington flap.
I'm not sure what that is. I know the Washington flap, probably the 1952 UFO Capitol flyovers, which are very well authenticated on radar, and they've interviewed a lot of the people who were involved.
Yeah, I want you to know that Valiant Thor did not land and talk to anybody. That is a lie. Okay, I know what she's alluding to. No, nobody landed and nobody talked to anybody. That did not happen. Period. It is a lie. There is no Valiant Thor. It's misinformation, disinformation, and a government tool to mess with you. Not exist. Okay.
I want to put this statement up by D-Man because this one made me laugh. I can't tell you how many people, come at me so hard. Like, extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. I did not know that Sagan was the
guy who said it.
So shame, because it's not true. Evidence is what's required.
Yeah.
And let's face it, eyewitness testimony is considered evidence in a court of law. And when you have multiple eyewitness testimony, people are put to jail for the rest of their lives on the basis of a single person's testimony.
Yeah.
So you could absolutely prove this subject in a court of law. Easy, hands down, we're done. So, yeah, I understand people want hard evidence. The evidence is there. I need to do a video on this because people are absolutely not seeing the fact that there's landing traces. There's radar returns. There's, of course, photographs. But there's medical evidence, the 300 plus healing cases, the implant removal cases, for Pete's sake, the angel hair cases where the atmosphere reacts with the plasma fields and sends down these strands of, they're not exactly sure what it is, but it's got
when you're being gaslit, does everybody have a clue about that? Gaslighting in the extreme, because they already know the answer. They're gaslighting you. And you can hear it when they say it. You go, huh? What are you saying? We already know this is real. What's wrong with you? Everybody in their chest knows this is real. And yet they get away with saying that stuff. They're gaslighting everybody and getting away with it. Use your intuition. Call them on it. Seriously, I don't have a problem sitting here calling them. You call them. Don't let me be the only one. Well, Dolly said, don't go there. You figure it out too, and you call them on it. We all stood up at the same time and said, stop it. Shut up. You're an idiot. Okay? Don't go there. You're gaslighting us. You already know. What are they going to do?
I think it's healthy to ask questions. I do think it's healthy to ask questions. Don't take everything at face value. Things are not always as they seem. People have different perspectives. People, research different things. Somewhere along the line, though, there has to be a meeting
consensus.
point. Yeah. A meeting point where the meeting of the minds, sharing with your peers. I mean, most people will write papers, to be looked at by their peers, and that information gets shared. But it's interesting. I think now in the age that we're in, just with being online, I think sometimes people miss a step.
Peer review doesn't necessarily mean that this is approved, because what about Galileo?
No, for sure. It's just it's just nice to have it put out there in detail where people can see it for what it is.
We absolutely need to. I think we've come to the consensus that this is real. Certainly, the majority of people know that there's something going on. But I think we need to come to the consensus that this is extraterrestrial in origin. And I want to have a sit down with, God bless him, good researcher, Jacques Vallée, because I'm still hearing him push this narrative that is based on pure speculation, that this is a phenomenon that's wearing different masks. And there's a man who needs to go on board a craft and see the ETs face to face, because you cannot tell that to a person who's had these encounters with any absolute seriousness. It's ridiculous. And this is one of the things that we really need to come to a consensus. If we have the crash retrievals, if there is a Roswell craft, and I think we've got enough eyewitness testimony, talk to Don Schmidt. He'll talk to you for hours about the testimony we have on Roswell alone. Can we not come to a consensus that we are being visited by ETs? That's simple. That's a simple statement.
Yeah, I agree. I think that there's a lot more people coming on board. And I think as we move forward, a lot more information is going to be put out there. Some accurate, some not accurate. Where do you go from it? I don't know.
It's a personal journey, don't you think? Everybody has to figure this out for themselves. Everybody has to do their own research. Everybody has to listen to what's being said. Listen to the horse's mouth. Don't believe what your brother's best friend's dog's sister told you. You have to go to the horse's mouth. In other words, as Preston's pointing out eloquently, that the people who do have the real information are talking, and they have talked. You need to listen to their voice, read their words, hear their testimony, and then not what somebody else said about it, no critique or commenting on it, but their real testimony. Drive yourself into that pile of information. Then you make your own conclusions about it. Test your abilities, test what you know, test everything about everything, and then you will come to a conclusion. I promise you, one way or the other, you're going to wake up to what's real, the truth. But
just look at the behavior of UFOs, how they hover over military bases. Watch rocket stations going over these hydroelectric stations. Can I share a case of a hydroelectric station?
Do it, yeah.
Because I've got a whole bunch of good ones, and this one involves a humanoid. I better put a whole chapter of this in one of my Not From Here books about them hovering over hydroelectric stations. I'm telling you, this is a thing. And this to me is very good evidence that we're dealing with ETs. Because explain this to me. June 20, 1964, at Gorge Dam in New Halem, Washington. A guy was there with his uncle who works at the dam. And they were at the powerhouse when this large disc-shaped craft falls from the sky. Initially, by the way, sideways on edge. That's for you, Kason. Because yes, they do that. And assumes a horizontal position directly above the water, right in front of the powerhouse. All the alarms went off, and they saw this object from about 30 feet away. They're estimating it's probably a little farther, I'm guessing, because people have a tendency to
exaggerate, misjudge.
Misjudge.
We'll go with misjudge. All right.
But anyway, they said it was probably 100 feet in diameter, 30 feet thick. And this is the interesting part. The witness says, I saw many dark colored, I like that part. People say, oh, they come in all colors. Yes. I saw many dark colored, small, human looking occupants looking at me and moving aside so that others could take turns to look at me. They smiled at me. I felt like they liked me. I saw a whirling motion in the water below the disc, and it was humming slightly. And then it began to counter-rotate, increase in speed. The windows closed. He yelled for his uncle to come out, and he came out just in time to see this object move up over the tree line. It had a transparent dome on top, and they could see two brightly dressed human-looking figures piloting the craft. Jet fighters appeared and chased it off.
Of course. This is just the buzzkill.
So how about
party poopers?
Come on, Jacques Vallée. Got to tell me.
Yeah.
That's... they're investigating our power plants. I asked Dolly about this, and she says, well, the reason is they're checking up on our technology to make sure it's safe.
Which would make sense. Yeah. Power, right?
Yeah, well, they can take power, but they also, like I said, they check everything we do. In other words, we're capable of so many things, and we invent new technologies all the time, or we screw up technologies, or we make things that are falling down and breaking apart easily. Everything in the third dimension, I don't know if I can say this or not, but it decrepitates, okay? They rust, they fall apart, the molecules change and everything decrepitates, okay? And electromagnetic power plants are some of the biggest ones of that, because they're literally causing currents that take molecules and change them over time rapidly. And so, they're monitoring how well we're dealing with that. Are we fixing it? Are we working on making new technology to make it better? They watch everything we do, everything.
Jim and Coral Lorenzen predicted this. They said they saw a new installation, a power plant being built, and they told everyone, they published it. They said there's going to be UFO sightings over this power plant. There was a whole wave of them. So that's the kind, the Russians actually learned how to call down UFOs by sort of faking technological exercises.
Yeah.
That's well authenticated.
It's brilliant. That was just in the 80s too, wasn't it? Like pretty recent. I think they were doing CE5 before CE5 was actually a thing.
And like the Malmstrom incident, this is very much, deliberate behavior. And you can't tell me that this is a phenomena pretending to be ETs when they're shutting down our nuclear-tipped intercontinental ballistic missiles. And almost everyone who gets messages when they're taken on board gets this message. What are you doing with nuclear weapons?
Right. It's not just that they knocked them down. When they tried to bring them back, they knocked that off too. They made sure they were completely shut down without melting. Which that's the point. I want to make this point. They shut a nuclear facility down without letting it melt down. Understand that that's a big deal. Nobody on this planet has that technology from the air. Nobody. Once you shut a nuclear plant down, it's going to start melting down. If the rods are engaged, it's going to melt. But they held it off. They kept it from doing that. That's technology that we don't have and we won't have in this lifetime. They freaked when they did it. That's why they were frantically trying to bring it back up, because they didn't realize they were going to stabilize it while they did it. And then they took down the secondary systems as well. And they were offline long enough for a melt to occur, and it didn't. And they've been scratching their heads ever since. And they don't like talking about it. And that's why they won't admit it, because that is proof that they did it, not us. Okay. You say to the government, what about Maelstrom? And they'll look you dead in the face and say, I don't know what you're talking about. Because of that alone is proof. It should not, and we know too many people who know it's shut down. There are too many witnesses. There are too many people who have talked about it. Good, reliable, honest people who have even taken tests to prove it. Okay, that is a big deal. When you can shut a nuclear event down and not let it melt, and then shut down secondary systems and it's still not melt down, and keep it offline long enough to prove that fact, and then turn it back on and take off. That's the point. That's point. Set match. That's proof right there. But y'all don't think about it because they don't want you to think about it. They don't want you to know the truth of that.
Yeah,
okay?
UFOs appeared over 3 Mile Island when that plant started to melt down. The Fukushima, they caught some of it on footage. I asked Dolly to take a look at it, and she's like, "Yep, that's real."
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
So that's a rescue, essentially.
Well, not so much. They were watching. ET cannot stop us from being stupid. They can try to alert us to being stupid. They can try to tell us if you do this, something stupid's going to happen. And when it does, you're going to suffer. And that's why Maelstrom happened. They wanted us to realize that this is why they freaked them out with this. That's why they showed them, you have an event coming that's possible. And we're not going to stop it for you. We're going to show you what'll happen if you don't. And we're trying to explain to you that this is, I mean, it's a multifaceted thing, what they were doing with this. And it's not just Maelstrom. There are other places where they knock power down as well. And he kept trying to tell them, no nuclear, stop it, stop it, stop it.
When White Sands was doing nuclear tests and there was leaking radiation, they showed up in large numbers. There was a direct correlation with anything nuclear going on to UFO activity.
Yeah, and now we have a Pacific Ocean that's taken a direct hit from nuclear radiation, and it's affected the entire Pacific. Don't doubt it for a minute. It is true. The animals under there, everything is affected by it. And now they have well, I won't say billions. I don't know how many there are. Honest to God, don't. But there are big gallon, 550-gallon drums of nuclear waste on the bottom of the sea. And guess what? Now they're leaking. And it's not just the Pacific where they're sitting there in the Atlantic. They're anywhere they can drop them because they think it would be safe down there. They're compromised and now they're leaking. You're going to see some weird stuff coming up from that. Okay. And now they're talking about going to the moon and building a nuclear station up there. They lost their minds. Here's another way, ET is not here. After the last Apollo shot that went, they warned them, don't go back. Do not go back. And everybody stayed off. Okay. Nobody went. But the minute ET wasn't here anymore and they knew it, guess what? They're going back and they're doing all kinds of stupid stuff. They're being stupid.
Some people just never learn.
No, they don't. We have to stop weaponizing our history.
Yeah. Well, history does have a way of repeating itself.
Until it can't repeat itself. And that's what they're headed for. If you want to wipe out humanity, this is the best way to do it. And ET is at a loss of why we're this stupid. The reason they want us to change is because our genetics reflect the stupidity of what we're doing. Okay. If you're somebody who's negative all the time and you have bad thoughts or you don't care about humanity, you're not empathetic, you don't help anybody, you're slamming that into your DNA. And supergenetics proves that because every generation following you is going to have those problems. We breed it into the line of succession of ourselves. Genetic. Okay. We had a whole planet of that going on, a whole planet. And they want us to stop. People are waking up and they're trying to alter themselves and heal themselves. That's what they mean by heal yourself. Heal yourself of this stuff. Get it out of your system. Let your DNA recombine itself back into what it should be, And we're not listening. Not the majority of them aren't. That's why I say, you got to quit sitting on your keisters. And you need to think about this and really, really explain to yourself, why is this happening? Why are we so stupid? And then act accordingly,
Well, like we're what do you say to that? What do you say to that question? Why are we so stupid?
Exactly what
I will stop.
How much time do you have?
I don't allow this to happen anymore. I mean, you have the power to do that. One thought from you can affect 20 people, right? You know this, Michelle.
That's true. Countries rise and fall on the actions of one person.
If you want ET to come, stop thinking that because they're not here right now. If everybody on the planet, you have these grand meditation days where everybody, da 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 da. specifically think in your mind, tell the governments to shut up and cut it out. It's time to stop. Everybody needs to do that. Okay. Everybody needs to take an oath to themselves.
It's planting a seed.
Yeah.
Essentially, you plant a seed into the collective consciousness, and realistically, it just takes one seed a day, something positive.
Which is exactly what the ETs are doing, taking people on board and planting seed after seed after seed.
Yes.
I'm serious.
Yes. Oh, I've seen it work, you know. I've seen incredible things. So we're heading up to the top of the hour. Last words. What do you guys have coming up? What are you doing next? Promote the show. Who's your next guest? Go, 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 go.
All right, I'll start. I saw someone asking, has Dolly written a book? Yes, Dolly and I wrote a book together. I authored it, but it's basically her book. Symmetry, a true UFO adventure. We are working on the sequel, which is going to be even better, I think, than the first, certainly in some ways, though we'll see.
You guys, you have a conference coming up, yeah?
Yes, we're going to be in Shag Harbor, October 3rd through the 5th. And it's a Shag Harbor 2025 UFO Expo. And we have a whole bunch of other people coming with us. And Martin Willis is the MC. Preston, who else is going to be? We're going to have an astronomer there.
Mark D'Antonio, who we love. We spoke with him. He's amazing.
Right. Yeah. Darcy is going to be there. He's going to show up. Darcy Weir.
Terry Devando.
Yeah, Terry Devando. And Chris Stiles is going to.
He's incredible. Yeah,
absolutely.
I love Chris.
I love him.
Yeah. What's cool about this one is on the 5th, we're all going to go on an adventure because we're going to go see where the Shag Harbor event happened. And we're going to go to the military base and everything. It's going to be awesome.
I love it. Yeah. I love it. Okay. Next guest. Who's your guest coming up Monday?
Guest. Simon Bone. Talking about his book.
I was about ready to jump in. Yeah. So, that'll be good.
Yeah, we're very excited. He's an amazing guy, and his book is so good. Wow. It's the kind of book I like to read.
Yeah.
Which is all about near-death experiences and so on too, right? So out-of-body experiences.
It's a pre-record, so we're gonna be in the chat with you again on Monday night. That's gonna be fun.
Yes.
And everybody needs to really pay attention to this one because it's very interesting. You know, he has a lot to say. It's very man.
Got a few guests lined up. One lady I've been trying to get for so long. I finally got her. So excited. She wrote a book about Donald Keyhoe. Hasn't done a whole lot of interviews. On another guy from England who's had direct encounters. We've got some really good guests lined up.
Yeah. Yep. And then a little bit in the future, Michael Schratz coming back on with our really good buddy, Mr. Goodall, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And, that's going to be fun. And we have a couple other really interesting things about to happen too.
And I have a great video for my Friday YouTube channel. So check that out. I'm not going to say what it is, but I think you'll like it.
Oh, yep. I love it. I love it. Well, it sounds exciting, honestly. And tonight was great. I think we got lots of information and to the point. Has to be sometimes, you know, to the point. And I don't know. I think there's a lot of things coming, and I know you guys will be back on again. So there's always so much to talk about, so much to address.
I know we're gonna have you come back on a late gate too.
I would love to. It's always a lot of fun, even if it's just hanging out, having a parlay.
No, I was listening to you, Michelle. You were talking about this one ghost case that sent chills down my spine.
I know. What's your
Oh my God.
I know. I can't always interact with you because things are going on around here where I have to be quiet because he's or something. Yeah. So I can't even go in the chat room with y'all. It's like, oh, I want to so bad. And it's like, oh no, we got to talk about that on the show. We got to talk, you know.
I've had 2 decades of the only cases or the only types of research and families I work with are very malevolent, and some things are just, you know, they're crazy, but that's all I do. So I'm happy to share anything that you want to know. And like I said, we've talked about many times, at least half of the people I've worked with were also experiencers. So the connections is always very fascinating.
Making that point because that's important. That's one of the things I wanted to address with it because your experience in being able to identify the things that are not okay, that you should be avoiding or pushing back against. Yeah. That's your experience, because it's happening to us through the governments now.
Yes.
They're malevolent, and your experiences teach how to deal with that. You know, it's one of the reasons I want to bring you back on soon, because that's important for people to, you know, work their way through. You know,
I'm always happy to. I love hanging with you guys, and I know you're coming back on here as well. So get to spend a whole lot of time, which is wonderful.
Duchess says hi.
Oh, the baby. Head's bigger than Preston's.
She weighs 165 pounds now.
Oh my God.
The vet said, "Are we on a diet?" And I'm like,
it's like a small adult.
It is.
Average size adult. What am I on about?
Yeah.
So it's like a small pony.
Yes,
girl. We've also had her long enough now that she's talking. She says things. She's like learning to enunciate things, and she has different growls for what she wants and stuff. And she says mama, and she says puh, like that for Preston. And I mean, it's weird. And she's just she's getting smarter every day. The longer she's around us, and Preston talks to her psychically. He says, "What's this?" I'll tell her psychically, and he does it, and she goes and does it. It's like, yay! Look at that.
I love when you do that. You look at them and go, "It's just the look," the mother look. Oh, don't stop it. And you know, mine's only like 2.5 pounds.
Look at she's kissing.
But anyway, everybody in chat, you know, our regular chat and all of our other chat rooms, Preston's chat room, always wonderful. I just recognize so many of you, because even though I am quiet, I do stop in and listen to many of the shows, and I just sit and listen. So anyway, big thank you to all of you guys. Big thank you to Folgers, and big thank you to Justin Snicker and Steve McGinnis, United Public Radio, UFO, Paranormal Radio, 105.3 FM, 107.7 FM. Thursday night, we have for the very first time a new guest, Rosanna Hannes, Roxy Glow, as she goes by. We'll be talking about her work, An Invitation to Star Peace. A vision for peace on Earth. Looking really forward to that one. And next week on Beyond the Outer Realm, we have Christine Francis Poe, and we're going to be talking everything angels, whether it's angel numbers, angel experiences, angel readings. It's angel. She's all about angels. I've known her for a long time, at least 15 years. She's just delightful. She's just a kind, you know, just well-rounded individual. She's just awesome. So is that the 2 cents worth coming from the other room? But anyway, I'm a bit of an angel. Mish, yes, Mish, you are. We love you. Anyway, thank you, Clifford. I love you all, and I will see you tomorrow night. Hey, CL, I will see you guys all tomorrow night. Big hugs, much love to all of you, and see you tomorrow. Good night.
Good night, everybody.